Welcome everybody. In this video, I'm going to teach you guys how you can always beat Kassadin in mid lane. Everyone always thinks that they're beating Kassadin hard enough, but the truth is that they're missing an immense amount of opportunities because they are making small errors in creating trading opportunities and ability usage. And I'm going to break down exactly how you can punish the enemy laner so hard that there's just no way for them to recover from it. And Kassadin is the best champion to actually practice clean laning into, because the way you want to view Kassadin is like a blank canvas. Your laning ability and your ability to manage the waves and trades is gonna be the difference maker between you burying this guy in the ground versus this guy actually having a game that he can play. Of course, I'm also gonna talk about the Kassadin specifics and how to deal with him in the mid game. Everything's gonna be covered, so you know exactly. After this video, you're going to know exactly how to properly lane into melee champions and beat the shit out of champs like Kassadin, and also just how to beat Kassadin in general. This is going to be a very educational and informational video. Enjoy! So, first things first, right? Whenever you play into a melee champion that's extremely weak, you want to always check what type of starting items that they're going. In Kassadin's specific case, they're either going to run D-Shield, they're going to run Doran's Helm, or they're going to run Dark Seal with Refill. Most Kassadins are greedy players, so they're going to run Dark Seal Refill. And you got to keep in mind that if they run that, they don't have no resistances. If they run Doran's Shield, right, that's when it's probably the most annoying type of Kassadin to first, because they're going to be very tanky. They're going to be hard to break through because they combine this with Second Wind very often. And yes, they're going to be able to be healthier in the lane. But the problem when they do this is that they're actually going to be insanely weak into the transition to mid game. Hence is why most Kassadin players actually just go Dark Seal Refill, because it allows them to scale and they're just going to sacrifice creeps in the early game for it. So most Kassadins will either run Dark Seal Refill, and this is then going to allow you to pressure him really, really well in the early game. So one of the key things you want to do is you want to do a 2-wave crash onto the Kassadin and then start harassing him under the turret whenever he's going for last hit. That's like the mindset. So what I'm doing here in this early lane is I'm trying to set up the minions in such a way that it's easy for me to harass him the moment he goes for creeps. My mindset as well is, hey, I want to use my spells at the time where Kassadin has no Q, because his Q is actually a spell where you can actually regen or like prevent damage from being taken. You saw that in the early game here. I was forced to use my W onto the wave. That's not ideal, and it cost me a little bit of damage and a little bit of ability to punish this Kassadin properly in the early lane. The good thing here is that I go for a 2-wave crash. A 2-wave crash allows me to then hit the level up spike earlier, allows me to hit trading windows, create trading windows here where I can then harass him under his tower. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to punish him for the minions that he's going to be going for. And I'm very intentionally looking at his character right now and seeing which minions he's contesting and which minions he's not contesting. And I'm only trying to punish him on the minions that he's actually contesting, because my goal in this lane is to deny him as much CS as possible while hitting every CS yourself. A lot of people forget that they need to actually CS themselves if they want to beat someone in the lane. So make sure that if you hit every creep yourself and you just deny most creeps, then you're going to be in a good position to win the lane. Do not miss the cannon like I just do. And you see that whenever one of these minions is dying, like, I'm really happy getting extremely aggressive with this guy. And I'm so happy that I'm even trying to like heavy trade extremely hard, because the earlier I can get him to reset and use his TP, the better it's going to be for me. If he did not flash that, I could get 2 extra auto attacks in with Ignite and he actually dies. So I'm extremely aggressive, especially onto these last hits, and I'm trying to put him very low so it's hard for him to now step up and access these minions here. Especially caster minions are the ones that you want to contest, okay? The melee minions are sometimes easy for him to actually get through, but the caster minions, you want to be very, very extreme in contesting, standing close to them, so it's hard for him to actually hit them. Now, in this position, I'm just trying to make it hard for him to CS all of these minions and hitting the tower as much as possible. In the meantime, hit all of the turrets so that you get yourself plates and get yourself even more money. We've gotten ourselves to the position where this Kassadin is so low, we've gotten a 15 CS lead by being so aggressive and trying to punish him onto the last hits, that we're now just able to just hard push this wave, match the reset, and come back. Now, what do I do in this position, right? Is I always get myself a control ward, because a control ward is going to allow me to then push up aggressively and start cycling waves in a 2-wave cycle. So 2 waves push, 2 waves push, and harass him under the tower. That is my mindset. And I'm going to try to ward and lean towards my jungle, because I'm going to play with the mindset of the availability. Okay, I want to be available onto the map if something happens, so I can then move first And that is Kassadin's biggest weakness in the early game. He will never be able to move first. So that is going to be my mindset here. Deny him the creeps as much as possible, trade onto him while he's last hitting, slow push waves into him, and whenever something's happening on the map, I always try to move. Pre-level 6 Kassadin, you want to be very, very, very aggressive in how you trade, because pre-level 6, he has no way to properly trade onto you and get close towards you. So trading HP is very good for you pre-6. Post 6, you want to be a little bit careful because now he can actually jump onto you and he can actually trade pretty hard. So post 6, you want to be a little bit more playing with the mindset of staying high HP yourself, because Kassadin is a burst-oriented champ with pretty high kill ranges the moment he can stack up his R. But pre-6, you see, I'm just trying to play around my electrocute, deny him as many minions as possible. In this case, we have a very nice slow pushing wave set into him, which is going to mean that he's forced to drop a lot of minions. And I'm very happy just all-inning him here with 6, because I know that best case scenario, I'll kill him. I unfortunately cancel my auto attack here, which sucks a little bit, of course. Otherwise, it would be a kill. Best case scenario, I kill him. Worst case scenario, he's really low. He now needs to reset. I crash the wave and he loses all those minions under the tower. So this is also then an R used for lane control. And you see that because of this early lane, right, I've gotten into a position where I'm actually really far ahead when it comes to the CS. So post level 6, this lane completely changes, okay? You want to be very, very careful right now. Because one thing that Kassadin is going to do post level 6 is he's going to try to get control over the lane so he can actually start getting first move timers. If Kassadin has the ability to get first move timers, what's going to happen is that he's going to be in a position where he can get shit done on the map. And the moment Kassadin starts sucking up resources like a vacuum cleaner, that's why Kassadin players play with the vacuum cleaner mindset. That's when shit's going to go bad, because the moment this champ reaches 3 items plus level 16, he's going to 1v9 the game, right? So you want to be very careful of him being able to do that. So the way that we mitigate that is by now taking smaller win-oriented trades, where we're not really going to be brute forcing trades all the time, like we did in the first 5 levels. We're now going to be in a position where we're taking it very slow, and we're just going to slowly chip away this guy's HP bar while making sure that we stay high HP so that we're always still available. And if you just play the waves properly, you're still going to be in positions where you can harass him under the tower right here. And he's going to have a pretty hard time then contesting the minions still. And I'm then always still going to be available if something happens on the map. So I'm very intentionally now focusing on my jungle and starting these neutral objectives, because Kassadin is still a really weak early game skirmisher. It's a champion that fully needs to commit and get close towards the target that he wants to hit. So if the Kassadin is low, he simply cannot play the game. Hence is why I am trying to move, stay high HP, slowly chip away this health bar, start these neutral objectives, because early skirmishes are really in your favor. Basically any champion that you're playing into him. And right here we find ourselves a fantastic skirmish where we get a nice snowball on the bot side. And the immediate thing that I do is that I immediately turn back to mid, because I know that Kassadin plays with the vacuum cleaner mindset. So he's going to try to get as many plates or counter plays as possible. So you really want to limit your time away from the lane as much as possible, so that you're in a position where you can then prevent him from getting resources onto the map or in the lane. And if you do that, then you're in a position where it's pretty hard for Kassadin to actually get accelerated, and he's going to be weak. And that's when it's going to be good for you to, of course, eventually progress through the game. The moment Kassadin gets ahead, guys, that's where you just basically auto-lose. Because then he's just going to jump in your face, stat check you all the time. And there's not really any counterplay to that. So we've got a nice little lead here. And what you see that I'm going to do is I'm going to continuously try to now be available on the map. Starting from this position, the moment we get like towards level 8, it's really hard to punish Kassadin in the lane. You can still do it, but he just gets low. And then he's going to reset, and with his ult, he's just going to consistently get back to the lane very quickly without losing too many minions. So my goal really is to just force skirmishes on the map, get my team going, so that eventually I also have a winning team instead of just a winning lane. If you are playing versus Kassadin, he's got a winning team, he's got to get the position to skill up, and that's when it's pretty hard for you to eventually play the game. Now, final thing to note, right, is that the moment you give Kassadin a tempo opportunity, or he gets an opportunity to move first on the map, and he gets like plays going, those are positions that you want to review, because otherwise he's going to be just, that's something that we shouldn't really allow him to do. You kind of want to pin him in the lane, prevent him from moving, prevent him from being able to get proactive plays and get resources. So you want to review how comes that he got first move. Did we mess up a reset? Did we mess up trades? Or what exactly happened that this happened? Or maybe we moved down into bot and that gave him the opportunity to cross map into top and get like a shutdown there. And that's something that you really want to prevent happening. Another key thing to keep in mind is side laning versus Kassadin, okay? In the side lane, you want to be a little bit careful versus him because of the fact that there's going to be a point where he can start stat checking you. So especially if you're playing a mage into him, what you need to do is you just need to, the moment he beats you, you need to just get the fuck out of the side lane by just shoving and moving and forcing fights around neutral objectives. Kassadin is a champion that wants to keep split pushing, drag minions people to answer to him, so that he can then create space on the map and get as many resources as possible. The true time that Kassadin spikes is at level 11 because his R cooldown gets shorter, at 2 items whenever he gets his Seraphs, and at level 16 with 3 items with his Malignants, right? If he hits those spikes, that's when this champion becomes like next level OP. So your goal is to just force as many fights around neutral objectives as possible, so you prevent him from getting this side lane game going, where he can actually be winning. And you see that right here in this example. I do get beautiful fights going here around mid lane, where I'm just sending it with my R, and I'm currently still a little bit stronger than the Kassadin, so this is then incredibly good, of course. This allows me to eventually snowball the game and get to a position where we just win before Kassadin becomes Thanos, and eventually that's kind of how you want to go about the game. Your goal is to try to end the game before he reaches level 16 with 3 items. And one of these key things that you got to do whenever you play versus Kassadin is also play clean League of Legends. If you make 1 or 2 mistakes too much, what happens is that he can get a shutdown, he can get accelerated, and then there might just not be any way back. Sometimes that's just how it goes. Now, if you struggle versus Kassadin, you probably also struggle versus Sylas. So for that video, check it out right here.